protection alchemy and predatory alchemy are important in where we live, housing. And I think that people who own property think that they have it better than renters. And in many ways they do. And in other ways, it's still the same. Protection and predatory alchemy is required across the board, whether renting or owning property as a primary residence or investment portfolio, whatever. Especially with generational wealth that's going to be passed down. So with renting, there's the issue of landlords, property management companies, real estate brokerage firms, investment companies that come in and buy everything up and then they're renting things out. Yeah? And what the issue is there is that they're using magic, witchcraft, curses, hexes on the land, on the building, on the neighborhood, on the individual units, on people themselves. I'm not going to go into it here, but to keep them in the prison of their choice, right? To keep them enslaved in specific ways. Okay. Now, when a person owns their property, they think, well, I don't have to deal with that anymore because I don't have a landlord, or, we've all heard stories of shady landlords and the things that they can do, right? Lie, cheat, steal, withhold deposits after you leave the place sparkling. There's so many things, right? They don't fix things sometimes. And I'm not saying that tenants have issues too, okay? We're not talking about that. So they may not fix things, right? But then expect you to pay rent. And then if you've got certain states where it is a landlord-friendly state, yeah, and the laws are pro-landlord and not pro-tenant, then it's very difficult, right? So when someone is owning property, they think, oh, well, I don't have those problems anymore. Okay, well, here we have this. The next door neighbor could be a smoker. Cannabis, tobacco. They could set their property on fire. They can be so high on something that they set something on fire by accident, and then that burns down the owner's place, their place, the people next door, right? This is why protection alchemy is important. Because that is, even with owning something, home burns down, even with insurance, that's still having to start over. That's having to replace everything that was in the home. That's time, that's energy, right? That's stressful. So there's also, there's neighborhood issues of people being loud, of people not being aware of how they're impacting their neighbors, right? Causing a commotion, those types of things. And that is where alchemy comes in. Doing the alchemy before we go on the search for a rental home, the search to own a home is exceptionally important because it will automatically block and bind us from getting into certain situations that we then have to get ourselves out of. Unless you're doing training, then you might want to get into a situation to learn how to rise above and eventually dominate.